So we went over this one in class, so I'm sure you kind of are familiar with what to do on this one. So I'm going to plug in 13 for x. I'm going to write 13b instead of b13. There's nothing wrong with picking up your calculator. 13 squared is 169 minus or plus 13b minus 21. Negative 65 minus 35 equals negative 2. 169 minus 71 is 148 plus 13b over negative 100 equals negative 2. Now I'm going to solve for b. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 100. And then that's gone. 148 plus 13b equals 200. Subtract 148, which is 52, divide by 32, I get 4. Now, I can make sure that I'm good to go. I just want to show you how to check it if you have time, because it is going to be a block day. Plug in 4 for x, so x squared, 4 for b. 4x minus 21 over negative 5x minus 35 equals negative 2. If I factor the top, take out a negative 5, cross that off, then I'm left with x minus 3 over negative 5 equals negative 2. Multiply both sides by negative 5. X minus 3 equals 10. Add 3, x equals 13. And if you look, 13 is what I had. So I know that I'm good to go. Okay, so describe at least two differences between the graphs. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this f of x, and you don't have to do it exactly like me. Let's see, let's start with the vertical asymptote. So the vertical asymptote means I set that equal to 0. But I'm going to have to be careful of this one, because here I know the vertical asymptote is x equals 3. But I know that when I factor this, square root, it's x minus 3, x plus 3. Let me zoom that in a little bit, sorry. This x minus 3 becomes a whole, which means it really means that this is f of x equals x plus 3. There is no vertical asymptote. So that's a difference. Okay? The horizontal asymptote is you look at the degree, and since the degrees are exactly the same, you take the leading coefficients and you divide them. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. But if you look here, the degrees are different. This one has a higher degree. So if it's a higher degree, there is no horizontal asymptote. Okay? I could also focus on the zeros. The zeros mean that I want the top to be 0. So I can set the top equal to be 0. And then that's going to be negative 6. And the 0 for this one, if I set that equal to 0, it's negative 3. I could also say that the holes, there's actually a lot of differences here. I don't really see any similarities. If you look here, there is no hole because there is no match. But here, the hole is at 3 comma something, okay? And I could figure out the y value going with 3 plus 3 is 6. So honestly, you only need to describe 2, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 differences. Okay? All right. Now what I need you to do is create a function. So I'll start with f of x. Do a big old line. The horizontal asymptote is 3/4. What that tells me is that reminds me of this, where that means the degree on top is the same as the degree on the bottom. Maybe I'm not 100% sure about that, so I'll worry about that later. Vertical asymptote. The VA is what's on the bottom. 1 second. Now the vertical asymptote is on bottom, so you always do the opposite, x minus 2. And if x equals 0, it's like there's an x in front. Probably shouldn't have done that in pen. So now the vertical asymptote done. The whole means there's a repeat. It doesn't matter the order. Okay? And the x-intercepts are your zeros. The zeros are what are on top. So then I'm going to go x minus 3, do the opposite, x plus 2. Now remember I said I thought that because it was 3/4, it reminded me of this because the degree is the same. I knew it wasn't that the degree was higher because then there wouldn't be a a horizontal asymptote. So I look, 1, 2, 3, x is on top, 1, 2, 3, x is on bottom. So now I just put a 3 here and a 4 here to give me that 3/4, and I'm done. Okay? All right, let's look here. It says April and June are both solving this. June says the answer is x equals 2, but April says there's no solution. Who is correct? Well, honestly, I'm going to solve it. But I know that June, just by looking, is not correct. Because if I plug 2 into here, then it'll be undefined. So I know June is incorrect. Because if I go 2 minus 2, there's a 0 on the denominator, and that's undefined. Okay? But I'm going to show that I don't even know if there's no solution, because maybe June and April both did it wrong. So let me actually solve this. I'm going to put it over 1. It's just easier when they're all fractions. So I know what I'm solving. The goal is to get the bottom gone. So I'm going to multiply everything by x minus 2. When I multiply everything by x minus 2, that's gone, and that's gone. So I'm just left with 5x equals distribute, and then 10 plus 10. So small x to big X, negative 14 plus 4, plus 10 is negative 4, divide x equals 2. So I can see why June got 2, but the answer, the person that's correct is actually April. Okay? So when you do this problem, you've got to show me that you can even get the 2 if it is 2, and show me that June is incorrect because it's undefined, and answer who is correct. So make sure you look, because there's a lot of questions here. Okay, I answered who made the mistake, June, undefined, who is correct, if anyone, and so I showed that April is correct, there is no solution. Okay, show how this is no solution. Let me rewrite it. So honestly, this one lends itself to this one, but if you look here, and if you look here, those are exactly the same. So if I added this to both sides, that would literally be gone. Let me say it again. These are exactly the same. So if I went plus 1 over x minus 3 plus 1 x minus 3, they would just be gone. And I'd be left with 3x equals 9, divide by 3, x equals 3. But then if I take the 3 and I plug it in, 1 over 3 minus 3 is 1 over 0, which is undefined, which is why it's no solution. I want you to see how I showed the progression. If you just jump to no solution, if you just say it's undefined and you don't tell me why, then I don't understand and you're incorrect.